Tonight, Kyiv remains a city very much under siege. The Russian army is stalled on the outskirts while shelling indiscriminately. Our next guest is on the ground there for Harper's Magazine, capturing compelling images of the human toll of war. Veteran photojournalist Nicole Tung has spent her entire career covering conflicts around the world, and she joins us now. Nicole, thank you for being here. There is something about your images that makes war so personal. They're really difficult to look at, but you also can't look away. Talk about how you go about capturing the true impact of conflict.
Thank you for having me on the program. I think that one of the key things that I try to focus on when I'm photographing in conflict areas is really just the normal daily routines that people fall into when war breaks out, and what happens when conflict does arrive in places is that people at first are shocked, and then they start to find this rhythm, which is scary in of itself, because then it becomes normalized, and this sort of routine becomes the norm until something changes again. And so that's what we're seeing. But there's also a lot of these very tiny kind of emotions that we can see in imagery and in videos, that people are trying to do normal things like this woman giving birth, but having to do it under extraordinary circumstances and in extraordinary contexts. The fear in her eyes was really apparent to me. She was in labor, and she was obviously having contractions, and it was in pain, but she still managed to say, I can't believe I'm in this situation. I never expected this. And imagine being pregnant for 9 months and planning for something that is meant to be a really happy occasion, and then finding yourself in this moment in the basement of a hospital under these circumstances.
I want to ask about your circumstances. You have photographed war zones for years, and I know you've lost friends and colleagues. Just this week, 3 journalists in Ukraine were killed and 1 was seriously injured. Are you worried that it could become too dangerous for you to keep working?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that's on the forefront of all the journalists' mind. People who are working here, people who've worked here for the past 8 years on the conflict, especially in the East, and any journalist who comes in here knowing full well the risks that we take. But there is also the importance of remaining here and witnessing and covering the story. And at some point it may become too dangerous, and we would have to leave. We've seen this in many conflict zones like Syria, before in Chechnya, where it was very difficult for correspondents to work because of the dangers. And every day there was just a boom about a minute ago. The shelling in Kyiv draws closer to the city center, and it's really becoming a lot more regular in terms of hitting civilian and residential areas.
Then how are you staying safe?
I mean, I think a lot of how we stay safe here is to do with the experiences that we've had before, knowing how dangerous or how mighty the Russian military can be. And so we try to, be very purposeful in the decisions we make, in the places that we go, asking ourselves, is it actually worth it to go to certain places? Is the photograph, worth risking this trip to a certain place? What we're also seeing in Ukraine is that the Russian military is doing exactly as they did in Syria, which was intentionally targeting civilian shelters, even bread lines, and also targeting food supplies, as was just reported.
And you are there chronicling all of it for the history books. Nicole is on assignment for Harper's Magazine, which will be publishing 2 portfolios of her work in upcoming issues. Nicole, thank you for what you do. Please stay safe.